Hello, beautiful strangers, and welcome back to another episode of Myth. When last we left off, I actually don't 100% remember exactly. Oh, right. It was more of the, not more of, but it was the hurry along. It's sort of what happened after the first episode, first loop. Right. I remember now. Yeah, I actually, I spent a bit just kind of sipping on my tea and listening to the main menu music. The main menu music, in its current form is really nice. The old one was nice too. This one's really nice. It's nice to listen to. But without any further stalling, let's get back into it, shall we? Your parents are missing? I talked with Meto as we headed for the nearby park. Yeah, I've been on a journey since then. A journey? So that's why I was never able to get in contact with him? Because his parents went missing? Meto took a can of coffee from his pocket and popped it open as soon as I thought to myself. A journey, huh? That seems kind of cool when you think about it. Meto's hands slightly quivered as he held the can. I couldn't sense any excitement from him, though. His hands were scratched, swollen, and dirty with mud. And they told the story of his journey. Honestly, it was extreme. It's a mystery how I'm even still alive. Meto spoke a bit about his journey, reflecting upon it. For example, you know how when you drink something warm on a cold day and it's just so rejuvenating? Or when you drink something cold on a cold day and it's just so refreshing and fills you with something that you thought you lost a long time ago? You know, hopes and dreams, and I'm kidding. Yeah. That thought will change once you've slept in a park for the duration of December through March and had a warm drink after. Hi, pretty girl. Just started recording. Now you want... Yeah. Now that I'm recording, you want to try to come play? He gently stroked the can he was holding, like he was handling his most prized possession. Hey, don't touch my drink. Don't touch my drink. I know it's not caffeinated, so technically it won't hurt you, but that doesn't mean you can try to steal my drink from me, cat. You should be happy that I'm letting you up on my desk at all if you're trying to steal my stuff. Anyway, like he was handling his most prized possession. Drinking something warm like that makes me realize that I'm still alive. Seriously. I'm ruining the motion of the scene. Sure, because I'm laughing at my cat, who is very much into trying to figure out what my drink is. Just doesn't understand what tea is. Especially herbal tea. Or fruit tea. I don't think there's any herbs in this tea. I think it's just fruit. Faint warmth at a cheap price. The faint warmth was Meto's life, not even serving as a hand warmer. No, it supported him. I couldn't help but sympathize. Your parents' disappearance doesn't make sense. I would never express my sympathy for him, though, because I knew full well that he wouldn't be happy upon me doing so. Are you saying that it's more that my father disappeared? He seemed to have taken a philosophical outlook when it came to this. You knew? Of course, and to sin I bear. I hung my head before asking him. Well, let me get straight to it. Meto, you killed your... I continued my journey, and I was in jail numerous times during it. Not that it was a bad place. It was cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Meto spun the can of coffee around as he spoke. Murder. I'm sure that's enough to land you in jail for life. Maybe even the death penalty, but that's far better than dying out in the middle of nowhere. Does Japan have the death penalty? I don't actually know. I'm actually curious. Yes, you are being very inquisitive now that I'm sitting and recording, aren't you? He denied it. It's a false charge, Yuri. I didn't kill my mother. She isn't even dead. What? But yes, I know. There was a funeral and she was cremated. Plus, I'm a suspect on the run, and of course, all the legal stuff concerning her death has already been taken care of. You must have looked into it, right? You know you don't have thumbs, right? Oh, well. I nodded. Yes, now that I'm recording, my cat has gone from I'm a nap now and into doing everything she can to be absolutely adorable and take all of my attention. After becoming a lawyer, I began to look up information concerning Meto's parents. Meto's mother, Gyoko Tanabe, is dead on paper, and there is no shortage of details supporting and explaining that death. Yuri, I can clear away all these mysteries with just a single word. Then say it. I cast my gaze towards him. I gazed at my former lover as he said the following without batting an eyelash. It's a conspiracy. That's 3 words. Is that the one word would just be conspiracy. I am curious of saying something like it's a conspiracy is 1 word in Japanese. I doubt it. I highly, highly doubt it, as a matter of fact. I think it was just on that whole, it's 1 word and it's 3 being a joke, or the 1 word is conspiracy and it's didn't, count for whatever reason. No, whatever. The world was completely gray. And with every step, it began to get darker and darker. With that darkness was a faint bit of gray as well. Does this have a name? Yeah, Asgard's suspicions. Though it was too muddy to be called a source of light. That was where we were headed. As we pursued that gray light of sorts, after a certain point, our field of vision completely opened up. It was the world of shadows. It looked just like it. It was completely gray, but other than that, there was no difference. Perhaps the world of shadows was modeled after this place? Or the reverse. We reached it after passing through the grasslands. Upon seeing it, I was convinced that this looked far too much like that world of shadows. It looked just like the village I was familiar with. The inside of that place, though, was very different from what I knew. The scent of blood hung heavily in the air, and it was obvious as to why. They're dead. What seemed to be corpses littered the area. It was tough to say for sure because they were all over the place, and the bodies themselves were completely black. Shadows. I thought that was the case at first, but that was a little off. There was something fundamentally different about the shadow people I knew of. There are creases. Perhaps it was because I wasn't in the actual plot at the time. Or perhaps it was because I voluntarily looked at them, but the man that was split in half opened his eyes. Whoa, he shouted. He was raging. I could sense his lust for blood. I'll kill you. Kill you. He kept on repeating that, like he was possessed. I'll Cool. He looked like a zombie as he writhed on the ground, screaming such utter nonsense. Why were they here? Riri-san wasn't fazed at all by those people, though, as she searched for Hibiki in the market. Kiki began to do the same as she looked through the shops. I decided to go ahead. I wanted to resolve the things I had on my mind. And the answer to those things must have been somewhere in that village. Movement. We got a name? C name? Asgard Suspicious? Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. A conspiracy. So your mother's death was faked and you were framed for it? Yeah. Thanks for actually listening instead of laughing. You don't believe what I'm saying, do you? Or you don't really believe what I'm saying, do you? Don't worry. I'm just shocked. Meito said, that figures, chuckled. Everyone think you're crazy if you told them. Thank God you don't buy it. Don't be ridiculous. Next thing I knew, I was grabbing Meito's collar. I was worried about you all this time, and you pop out of nowhere and claim you were framed. On top of that, you say it was because of someone's conspiracy? I scowled at his calm eyes. You know, I wanted to believe you were innocent at first. I even became a lawyer because I wanted to help you. But the more I looked into it, the more I doubted you. I was becoming increasingly distraught. I trusted you. That trust is what supported me as a lawyer. There were two possible futures I'd envisioned for myself. There was the bright one where I proved Meito was framed, and there was the dark one where I was forced to confront the reality of what he did. As my life of being a lawyer went on, it only got darker. Like after I looked at the records of what he did, no, it wasn't him. Or when I heard Meito chased away some cops and ran. I'm sure he must have had a reason. It was all wrong. The light was seeping into the darkness. There was a truth other than Meito being the culprit. Could I? Time had withered away my sense of justice. Could I judge him? Do you think I did it? His verbal lance stabbed me in the chest. It was the incredibly simple core of the matter. If not, are you telling me to assume it's someone's conspiracy? Couldn't be anything else. Don't feel like trying to come up with any simple lies. I fell silent. In my unstable subconscious swarm, nightmarish deep-sea fish. Nope, that was wrong. Let me try that again. In my unstable subconscious swam nightmarish deep-sea fish. I wanted a decision. Or maybe a sedative. What I wanted to say was, I trust you. But I couldn't even believe the first thing he was saying. Could I really accept the idea that there was some conspiracy? I wasn't confident. You really grew up. Next thing I noticed, Meito was staring at me. His analytical gaze made me naturally loosen my grip on his clothes. We could talk later. Meito said and lightly pulled away my arms. You're clearly flustered. There's no way you can decide what's right or wrong like this. We can still talk later. Take your time and think about it for now. Mirto lightly patted my shoulder and then began to walk away. I've got nothing to do with myself. I think I'll just take a walk or something until you're ready. I couldn't come up with anything to say. Decide before tomorrow morning at 10. I'll be waiting in this park. You're visiting the police, right? I went inside and found a young man looking at me. A character. Huh? He didn't seem to understand what I meant by that at first. But the stiff expression on his face loosened up after he thought about it for a bit. Huh. He looked at my body after that. Did you come to meet Odin? Ow, Pop. Is she here? She is. He plainly said as much. You coming here will make her happy. He smiled. I walked in silence through the entrance I was so used to seeing. I was headed for Shimon's room, and she was there. So you came. Someone I didn't recognize said that. No, I did recognize them. They weren't exactly the same, but she resembled the statue we met in the forest not long ago. You're Odin? She nodded, as though saying my intuition was spot on. I reflexively began to act. It felt only natural, like my very being demanded I do as much. As I strangled her. That's sudden. Don't you want to know more? Would you like to know more? The air escaped her lungs as she said that. I don't need any reason for what you've done, so long as you're gone. So you want to discard a reason and sweep away the foundation? Were you always that barbaric of a character? That's because this is an act of my own will. Will? Yeah, I might have problems actually doing a voice that sounds like somebody getting strangled without actually strangling myself, and I don't particularly want to choke myself. What's so funny? Mirto Tanabe? I lightened my grip upon hearing that voice. I recognized who it was. Shimon. Valkyrie? Let go of her? Valkyrie looked at my hands around Odin's neck as she said that. I refuse. I'm not going to let go. It's a waste of time. She approached me and gently touched my hands. How long do you think you've been strangling her for? She should be dead now. Do you see what I'm getting at? Damn it. I let go of Odin. Her expression didn't change, despite the fact her breathing was ragged. How did you come here? It seemed like the other Einherjar are outside as well. You gave us the bait. Bait? Hibiki was in Asgard. You made Riri-san say as much on the 20th. Valkyrie's sharp gaze seemed to get even sharper. She wasn't glaring at me, though. She was glaring at Odin. What are you trying to do? What do you mean? Odin shrugged it off. I'm asking what connection there is between fulfilling Ragnarok and giving information to the Einherjar that will lead them to Asgard. There is no connection. What? Valkyrie? The Ragnarok you desire is not some grand thing. Don't you agree with me? I don't. Valkyrie immediately responded. Didn't you have hope when we were born? Hope? Then we could bring about Ragnarok in some other form, even one more grand than the author wishes for? Hang on. I butted into their conversation. You just said author, right? Odin glared at me. She stopped that after a moment, though, and instead wore a sinister smile on her face. Haven't you noticed? You who opened that gate, you living in Tokyo, you in myth, all of those are beings I created. You haven't realized that yet? What are you saying? I'm... Odin sneered. Why haven't you realized that yet? Why haven't you realized that no real worlds exist here? Your past is all mine, the author known as Odin. Author. I repeated her words. So, something created us. That something was Odin from me, but then who created Odin? They're gone. In Norse mythology, Odin was... Yeah, I don't remember. I don't think it had anything to do with Yggdrasil. Yeah, honestly, I don't remember how Odin was created in Norse mythology. I know that the Greek mythology, in the Greek pantheon, they were created by the Titans, and the Titans were created by the, was it the Primordials, I think, is what they were called? I think my Greek mythology my mythology in general is rusty. God no longer exists, she roared with laughter. What is that? This track sounds familiar, like I've heard it from somewhere outside this visual novel, but I can't quite place my finger on from where, or what it is about it that gives it that sense of familiarity. What is that? I noticed something different about her. I think it's the face. It's probably the face. That look on your face. Valkyrie seemed to have noticed as well. Meto. I heard Riri-san shout from a distance. I found Hibiki. She's human, but different from us. I didn't know what Riri-san meant by that. It seemed that she didn't understand either. Anyway, she's human. Riri-san repeated herself. But different from us. I didn't know what she said after that. And the main reason for that was because I screamed. Why? Odin... I turned around, and Odin... Her eyes... and... I'm not going to scream into the mic. Mouth were completely different from what I was used to. She's human, damn it. Riri-san continued on and on as I stared at Odin's mouth. It was like I was possessed. As Odin said, soon, my Ragnarok will be fulfilled. All right, this is okay. I kind of we can move along from the ellipses now. I was trying to let it be all atmospheric and whatnot, but okay, thank you. Bright boy. That's it. Yeah, I developed not a dislike, but a movement. I find ellipses to be a source of humor after playing Final Fantasy VIII. Name of this one is Uni Mystery. But I think this is where I'm going to end off this episode. With a, what the fuck just happened? Sort of question. There's really not much more to tease other than that. I mean, there's this whole thing that's going on in Yuri's timeline. I guess timeline. Whatever. Yuri's time, not timeline. Fuck, I'm dumb. So there's that. You can't see my mouse. I don't know why I keep moving my mouse and acting like you can fucking see it, because you can't. But yeah, there's this whole thing going on in Yuri's timeline. But seriously, that's not that this isn't a concern, but the more immediate concern, at least in my opinion, is what's going on in timeline. Let's call that timeline 1, because that was loop 1. So that's, timeline 1, loop 1, blah, 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 blah. Ooh. Yeah, there's still, this is taking longer to read aloud. I'm gonna, I'll admit that. And, sidebarring and whatnot, there's not that much left though. It's close enough to the end where I'm preparing the series I'm going to do after this. Although I'm still not 100% decided, but we'll not talk about that at the moment. Anyway, yeah. I can't say what the fuck just happened, find out next time, because I can't actually promise. That's never stopped me before. Fuck it. I've never stopped lying about cliffhangers before. What the fuck just happened? Find out next time. I hope to see you all there.